Board of Education to order. The board would like to welcome the audience and thank you for attending. Viewers may watch TCAPS Board of Education meetings and committee meetings live or on demand at any time at tcaps.net/board. Please rise and join students from Miss Beckwith's first grade class at Westwoods Elementary School in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Slow and fast.
Okay. We're at the review approval portion of the agenda. Do we have a move to approve as presented?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay.
I second
This is second from Beth. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Recognition deferred to Dr. Van Wagner.
Okay, so tonight we are going to represent our TCAPS veterans, our employees that are veterans. Each year we do this, and with having Veterans Day upon us, it's a great thing to be able to recognize those folks. So I'm going to defer to Connie Taylor, who's going to read off their names, and we have certificates for each of them that she's going to get out and deliver. And remember, every year we try and get photos, so we'll have that probably at our committee meetings to be able to show. It just depends on when Veterans Day falls in our board meeting, whether we have them, but we'll get those. And so we're going to go ahead and read off their names.
All right. We thank for everyone who has shared with us their veteran status. Every year we put out a survey and hope to get more folks who may have served that we don't know have served. So these are the individuals that have acknowledged and indicated their years of service with the military. Aaron Smith, Air Force, 10 years. Carol Johnson, Navy, 10 years. Dennis Conway, Navy, 6 years. Jean Brzezinski, Navy, 6 years. James Parkinson, Navy, 6 years. Jeff O'Brien, Army, 3 years. Jim Conisette, Coast Guard, 4 years. John Brzezinski, Army, 2 years. John LaBarbera, Army, 8 years. Joshua Veith, Navy, 4 years. Mike Graham, Army, 6 years. Patrick Mangan, Marines, 5 years. Paul Crowley, Air Force, 6 years. Rick Fortin, Army, 6 years. Polly Porter, Navy, 20 years. Richard Porter, Navy, 20 years. And our audience today, Russ Nyland, Navy, 12 years. Scott Dement, Air Force, 6 years. Solon Barnes, Army, 2 years. Steve Lautner, Army, 4 years. Tina Preston, Army, 1.5 years. Tom Freitas, Navy, 4 years. Tyson Birch, Marines. Years of service undisclosed.
A long time, I know that.
Yes.
So if we would give a round of applause to all of our veterans. We thank them for their service to our country and their service to our school district and the children here in TCAPS. And that is our recognition for tonight.
Awesome. Thanks. Thank you for attending as well. Okay. Today is a little of a, well, actually, sorry, we go through on the first public comment. I take it we do have some of that. So the board has set aside this time for public comment. Individuals addressing the board shall have one opportunity to speak, and it shall be limited to 3 minutes. Individuals should not make personal attacks unrelated to actions affecting the school system, and we strongly encourage common courtesy and constructive feedback. Detailed rules and procedures, including the complaint process, are outlined in Board Policy 2504. Tammy?
Michelle Chapman.
Michelle Chapman, and I am a parent of a student at West Middle. I'm here to speak about a serious incident that involving my son and ask for accountability and change. Recently, my son was experienced a seizure at school. During this time, no adult contacted me, nor checked on him or followed up afterwards until I reached out myself. I only learned about this after that my son called me, after the incident happened. As a parent, that was terrifying when I send my child to school. I trust that he is a safe environment when an adult is trained and prepared to respond to a medical emergency. In this case, that trust was broken. I had somebody reach out from TCAPS about the situation and was asked to give them grace. I'm not pointing fingers, but I insist that our district must do better. Medically, emergencies can happen at any time, and no parent should have to wonder whether their child will be in the care and proper something goes wrong. I'm asking the board to investigate and how and why proper procedures were not followed in this incident, to review the strength medical response protocols, especially for students with health conditions or emergency plans. Providing staff training so every teacher, aide, and administrator knows what to do, who to call in a medical emergency. My goal isn't to punish, it's to prevent. I want to make sure no other family has to experience what mine did. Our child deserves to be protected, and parents deserve to be informed when something serious happens. Thank you for listening and taking steps to ensure our school are safe and prepared as they can be. Thank you.
Barb Shamansky and Gail Lampert.
That was a pretty good job with that name.
Can only have one at a time,
Oh, okay.
so for 3 minutes each.
So on behalf of myself, Gail Landfair, and the Presbyterian Church of Traverse City, I want to thank you for teaching and sharing the Anishinaabe story as part of the curriculum. As a student, I did not learn about the Anishinaabe or Indigenous folks, period. And you can tell that was back quite a ways. And then as a teacher, I never taught it. It wasn't a thing, I didn't think about it. So I am very grateful that you folks and everyone in the system has picked up that ball and is teaching the true history of our area, country. So thank you.
You wanna come up?
Gail.
I'm Gail Lamptier-Wolfs. And I come tonight as a member of the Racial Justice Working Group at the Presbyterian Church of Traverse City. We want to thank the board, our superintendent, and anyone who had anything to do with making it possible to have the Anishinaabe story and the Anishinaabe language available in the TCAPS schools. We are really excited, and in the spirit of the late Holly Bird, we are committed to the goal of the telling of the true history of the Indigenous people in northern Michigan. And the way we do that and have done it is by advocating for this kind of history to be available. So I'm here tonight to thank you all, and Dan Teisworth and Lydia Henyon, the Indigenous educator. We are really excited. I'm also excited about the Indigenous Education Initiative out of the State Board of Education. They have some wonderful materials now. So thank you so much.
Phil Wiesner.
Phil Wiesner, Traverse City. And the handout that I gave, the Scandalous Seven, it's also called the Miserable Men. And TCAPS in so many schools around the country have followed these seven miserable men, Scandalous Seven. You can find this on my website, tcfamily.org, and I've entitled that article, Christian versus LGBTQ Religion, God's Word versus Man's Word. And on the last page of that 5-page article is a picture of these seven miserable men. And there's a link right under that picture that goes to this handout that I just handed to you. It's a little easier to read from here, but I'll just read from it. Who's really teaching our children about sex? Imagine appointing an arsonist to serve as the city fire chief or a flat earther to run the Royal Astronomical Society. Well, something even more foolhardy has occurred in recent years when it comes to sex education. Children are routinely exposed to cartoonish characters like the gingerbread person to learn that their anatomical sex is supposedly different from their gender identity. Such doctrines are dutifully recited to children by educators whose own university education was likely infused with radical gender ideologies. Where did these ideologies come from? Who were the founding fathers? Did they have staggering expertise and sterling resumes to qualify them to shape how entire generations think about sex? Let's meet the cast of characters. And these are these seven, the Scandalous Seven or the Miserable Men. And if you read through that, I don't have time to read it all, but it starts with Alfred Kinsey. He believed, Alfred Kinsey is the first one. Wrote in 1948 his books, he loathed monogamous heterosexuality as oppressive. William Reich coined the term sexual revolution. The details are just, you don't want these type of people leading, being the founding fathers and directing any thoughts in our children. Michael Foucault, Harry Benjamin, John Money, Jean-Paul Sartre, and Jacques Derrida. Anyway, so this handout again, Christian versus LGBTQ religion, God's word versus man's word. They have like, on the first page is the 10 Commandments. And also, if someone believes they're a female and they're a male, that's a religious belief on faith. Please consider these things and stop following these seven.
Thank you, Mr. Wiesner, your time is up.
That's the end of public.
Okay. Thank you everyone for public comments. And moving on to superintendent report, deferring to Dr. Van Wagner.
Okay, first off, we're going to have our audit of financial report, and I will pass it over to Christine Thomasell.
Thanks. So we have Dave Nielsen here from Manor Casterison. He's a principal and he oversees our account. So he's gonna give you kind of a high level overview of our audit ending June 30th, 2025. And feel free throughout to ask questions if you have them. This is intended to be brief but informative. So if you have any questions or would like follow up, just let him know.
Thank you, Christine. Appreciate the opportunity to be here in front of you all tonight to talk about the year-end financial statement, financial audit for the year ended June 30, 2025. Your audited financial statements are included in the annual comprehensive financial report again this year. We've got a couple slides to go through tonight to present sort of a high-level summary of the audit itself. As Christine mentioned, feel free to ask questions as they arise, or you can save them to the end, either way. Before I get into the slides themselves, I did want to say thank you to Christine, to Wes, Sandy, and Julie, and the rest of the team. I don't think we ask for anything less each year. In fact, it's probably more each year. So I just wanted to take a second and say thank you to them. A lot of hard work goes into not only the day-to-day accounting, but the compliance side of things too. That doesn't get any less either. So a lot of hard work goes into producing this report for the year. Before we get into the actual audit results, a quick slide. I know you've got a full agenda tonight, but Manor Casterison, we're located in Lansing, Michigan and Grand Rapids, Michigan. About 60 people from our audit department are dedicated to the education niche. We do audit over 120 school districts annually. Committees that we're members of there, and then we have over 200 Michigan governmental clients as well. Couple quick notes on the audit process itself. We start scheduling, and well, we probably have next year's audit scheduled already, but I was gonna say we start scheduling in Q1 of each year. We're out here in June to do our preliminary audit field work. We met with some of you all in July when we were here for the final audit field work. That spans into early August, all the way until I'm here tonight to present the audit report to you. During our audit procedures though, we wanna understand the entity. We wanna gain an understanding of TCAPS itself. What are the internal controls? What are people doing? What are their day-to-day processes? We wanna establish our planning materiality. We wanna develop expectations. We wanna perform a risk assessment. That helps us to determine and drive our audit procedures for the annual financial statement audit. Certainly we want to act in accordance with the AICPA Code of Professional Conduct. That means maintaining integrity, objectivity, due care, competence, no conflicts of interest, and maintain confidentiality. Once we do that, we can issue the independent auditor's report, which is on page 11 of your packet. There are probably 120, 130 some pages in the packet. So page 11 is the independent auditor's report. The highlights from the independent auditor's report consist of the fact that on the financial statements themselves, we issued an unmodified audit opinion. What that means is that's the highest level of assurance that we can give as auditors. Some people might call it a clean opinion, we call it an unmodified opinion. We also have a report near the end of your packet that is required by government auditing standards. That's our report on internal controls over the financial reporting process. We had no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies identified during our audit procedures, so that is a clean report as well. So kudos there. The third bullet point, you'll notice I put in all caps, not yet issued. So the report that we typically issue on compliance with major programs, that is specific to the single audit or the federal compliance audit. We're in November of 2025 and they have yet to issue the 2025 compliance supplement. The compliance supplement is what tells us as auditors what to test. I can tell you based on our preliminary results, we have no findings to report, so that's good. I can't say that final yet because we haven't seen the final compliance supplement. What we are required to do, and we will do, is within 30 days of that compliance supplement being issued, we'll issue our single audit reports and those can be filed with MDE. Financial statements were filed on time. It's just the single audit piece that's being held up a little bit. So. Audit results. Page 3 of your packet is in the letter of transmittal. Couple of different things to note on this slide. First, the information is taken from MDE's Bulletin 1014. That was published in February of 2025, so it's not exactly current data. It's based on last year's data. There were 819 school districts in the state of Michigan. Out of 819, general fund revenues for TCAPS ranked 550 on a per pupil basis. General fund expenditures, you can see the various categories there. For example, added needs on a per pupil expenditure basis, 642 out of 819. The one at the bottom though shows your investment in the people that are actually providing the instruction and the education to the students. For average teacher salary, ranked 91 out of 819. Audit results, you can look at this on page 6. It shows the 10-year trend of taxable values. All the way back to 2015, you had a 1.6% growth. This past year for taxable values, about a 9.359% growth. There are a lot of words on this slide, I will recognize that. Page 21 of your packet has some really good information on the general fund budgetary highlights. Couple quick snippets here. On the revenue side, there's about a $2.7 million variance between final budget and actual results. Most of that is a result of not spending all of the local, state, and federal grants that were originally budgeted for. If you don't spend them all, you can't recognize the revenue. It gets recognized in fiscal year 26 when you spend it. That has a big piece to do with the variance on the expenditure side as well. So you had a variance of about 6.4 million there. About 2.5 million, again, is related to the grants. Another 1.1 million is related to other carryover. And the rest of the variance really is a result of your conservative budgeting practice, which is good.
Can I just ask a question here, because this does seem like a large amount, I don't remember us deferring that much in prior years with grants, was there a particular reason for that?
Some of that is related to if it's a state grant, their fiscal years and ours don't match, and so we have to carry it forward on our books, but really it's in their fiscal year, the same fiscal year, so it kind of depends on our planning and what we're spending.
But nothing in particular comes to mind.
No.
It's a good question, yeah, and a lot of it is to do with the state's fiscal year being September 30.
Or sometimes by the time we actually get our true allocation, it's great, we finally got a budget, but we still don't have any detail on that. So by the time we truly know what the allocation is and those restrictions, then we can actually start spending it, and sometimes that gets delayed.
Right, and these are definitely multi-year grants, so they can be deferred, they're not expiring.
No, yeah, it's all allowable carryover.
So to give you an example of that, like in this year, in the state budget, there's a grant for SROs, okay, that we're going to apply for. No application yet, nothing, might not be till February or March. By the time you actually get awarded, it's almost the end of the school year, yet it's in their fiscal year. And so you get it, probably in July, or you actually wouldn't get a July payment. Your August or September is the earliest you'd actually get the money. So, you're into that next year, so. This one's even pushed back even farther. It could be worse this year because such a late budget.
Right.
Good point. There's some factors bearing on the district's future that are, they begin on page 22. First one, the shifts in the population and enrollment. Certainly, student enrollment has a large impact on school districts in the state of Michigan. We also couple that with aging population in the area, family migration, and early childhood trends. So those are a couple of the factors to consider related to the shifts in population and enrollment. Economic conditions and funding. It says it right there, capacity to provide excellent education is fundamentally linked to the health of the local, state, and federal government. Economies, I should say. Local economy, tourism-based economy is stable but seasonal. Inflation, rising costs, we're aware of that in salaries and benefits areas, as well as others. And then the state and federal funding, a lot of uncertainty around that. The board's strategic plan and academic goals, wanted certainly to take a second to look at that in terms of academic achievement, student well-being, positive student behaviors, post-secondary readiness, and high-quality staffing. Okay, let's get into the numbers a little bit. We're on page 31. We have the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances for the governmental funds, June 30, 2025. This is a snippet of that statement, but page 31 is where you'll find the full statement. You have three major funds in your governmental fund financial statements this year: the general fund, the 2023 capital projects fund, and the 2025 fund. You can see here, though, the net change in fund balance for the general fund was a positive $442,000 approximately. And you had a spend down of the 2023 capital projects fund. That did decrease by about $11.4 million, all the way down to zero. The 2025 capital projects fund is where you can see the issuance of the new bonds. So that was about $82.1 million. So the net change in fund balance for that fund itself was an increase of about $75 million. Across the board, net change in fund balance of roughly $64 million. Okay, a couple highlights in the notes to the financial statements. We're on page 35. The table on page 35, why I like to mention it in these meetings, is it's a summary of the bond expenditures or the cumulative bond activity in your 2023 and 2025 bonds. Thing I'll note here though is that we test the capital projects expenditures, a very high percentage of those expenditures in accordance with section 1351A of the revised school code, as well as the language that's approved in the bond document itself to make sure that the amounts charged to those funds are allowable. We didn't have any findings. That's great. On page 47, detail of your capital assets. Won't spend a ton of time on this page, but I will show you that this is the detail. You can see your additions. You've got construction in progress, about 17 million at the end of the year. You have a number of additions to the other various categories, leading to your total capital assets at year end, approximately 223 million. Page 49 gives you the breakdown of the long-term obligations for TCAPS at year end. 6 different bond issuances that are outstanding as of year end, including the most recent one of approximately 82 million. You also have what we would refer to as a SBITA, that's a subscription information technology agreement, subscription-based information technology agreement. Also got some accrued benefits for compensated absences. I failed to mention at the top of this meeting, GASB 101 was new this year. So you've always got new and emerging accounting standards. GASB 101 was certainly a new one that was effective for fiscal year 25. You can see there the ending balances at year end for the obligations under those compensated absences. What GASB, yeah, sure.
Can I ask, what's SBITA?
Subscription-based information technology agreement.
Okay.
Think of that as a form of technology a student is using in the class. The district enters into a long-term agreement for use of it, so you have an obligation for those payments.
Just one thing that comes up frequently, is the interest rate stated is the interest rate of the bond, not necessarily the interest rate that we are paying, because
Not
of
the true
premium.
interest cost.
It's not the true interest cost.
Right.
So.
Good thing to know. I added this slide this year, so if you were to compare it to last year's slides, this one would be new, pages 56 and page 57. We do provide the reader of the financial statements information in how the net pension liability is calculated, as well as the net other post-employment benefit asset is calculated. As a reminder, those items are on the district's statement of net position, so it doesn't impact the general fund, any of the other governmental funds. It is a full accrual number. It is the district's share of the statewide pension liability, net pension liability, as well as the statewide net other post-employment benefit asset. Key there, you can see they're quite large numbers. Just for example, on the pension side, statewide liability is 95.8 billion, roughly. Backing off that planned fiduciary net position of about 71.3 billion, gives you the net pension liability statewide of 24.5 billion. Multiply that by TCAPS's proportionate share of the statewide payroll. That's how you calculate the net pension liability, approximately 146 million. There are some upcoming accounting standards listed on page 64. GASB 103 and 104 are new for next year. There's some reporting model improvements in GASB 103. They impact the MD&A and they impact the information that is supplementary to the financial statements. Should have no significant impact on the financial statements themselves, but will impact the budget to actual schedule as well as the MD&A. GASB 104 deals with disclosure of certain capital assets. So it requires, if you have a right of use lease that's capitalized, or a right of use SBITA, or subscription-based information technology agreement that's capitalized, those are required to be stated separately in the capital asset footnote, which you already do. So I don't see an impact as a result of that. I mentioned GASB 101 was new for this year. This is the slide where you can see the impact of the adoption of GASB 101. So as a result of that adoption, you did decrease your net position by approximately 698,000, but that liability is now in accordance with GASB 101. And that didn't impact the general fund, just the government-wide statement of net position. Page 67, what we've been waiting for here, the budget to actual schedule. This again on the screen is our summarized version. You can see the full detail on page 67. On the revenue and expenditure side for your original budget, we did project a decrease in general fund balance of roughly 4.4 million. The final budget projected a decrease of approximately 2.9 million, just under 3 million. Came in at a positive 441,000, leaving a variance of about 3.4 million. We talked a little bit ago about the reasons for those variances. They are disclosed in management's discussion and analysis. But I would say overall, you've done a nice job putting together this budget and sticking to it on the actual results side of things. It is difficult to budget, especially on a $127 million budget. There's some large dollars. So I just wanted to take a second and say, nice job budgeting. Conservative is good. I mentioned earlier that you have the annual comprehensive financial report in front of you. Included at the back of that is a number of pages that are called the statistical information. It's what TCAPS puts together this packet every year. You send it into ASBO, you go through their review process that results in the certificate of excellence being awarded, which it was again for the past year. But part of that allows you to provide some statistical information to the readers of the financial statements. So page 120 gives a history of general fund balance, as well as the percentage of expenditures. So you can see 10 years ago, you were at roughly 6.6% fund balance. Fast forward to this past year, you're at roughly 12%. Nice improvement over the 10 years. A lot of hard work has gone into that. Page 137 has the history of your state aid membership. The total FTEs 10 years ago, it was about 9,862, I'll say. This year was 8,769. So you can see there sort of a steady decline over the past 10 years. Page 138 provides you the history of the foundation allowance. 10 years ago, about $7,400. Fast forward to this past year, $9,600, which was no change from the previous year either. All right, I've made it through my slides. I'm happy to answer any other questions that may have come up or.
On slide 10, page 5, whichever way you're looking at it, can you just go back to that for a second? How many?
Which one was it?
It's slide 10 or page 5, whichever. Yep, so on the, it was 8, so I just needed the 819, and we're on 98th. I think that was one, I don't think you, if you did, I apologize, that's one I think that we're most proud of as well, is keeping those general administration costs down. Cause that number looks like the high one, but high is good in this case, and,
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't mention that one. 791 out of 819.
Yep.
General administration.
So I have to memorize it, cause that's one that gets frequently asked in the community, and I am shocked to say it and proud at the same time, so.
Good point.
That was my one question. Did you also cover the millage rates as well this year? I
did not, but
historically you have.
Yeah, here, I'll tell you what page that's on.
Have you, and I guess my question to it was, have you seen a general increase, decrease, or stability statewide?
Seen stability. It's on page 42 of your packet. So on page 42, that's the disclosure of your millage rates. You've got 18 mills for the non-PRE, you've got 6 for commercial personal property, and you're still at 3.1 for debt service. I know of one other district that's actually lower than 3.1. So you're able to maintain a very low millage rate while still issuing bonds and providing all the improvements for the property here.
Okay, and that's why I just wondered with pressure and politics, if anything had changed, and if it's still just hanging around as statewide,
Seems to be hanging, yeah.
To give the board an idea, what's the highest you know of that you?
The highest I know of, you know, they usually range from 7 to 10.
I've seen 17.
I know it's in the Grand Rapids area, I've seen
Yeah.
in the double digits for sure.
It's such a hard thing to quantify because like you saw, our property tax values, we were at 1.6% increase and we just saw 9.5. So kind of it's helping us with bond sales, but not so much with affordable housing, right? So it's kind of this ebb and flow. So we've been very fortunate that property tax values are increasing, so we're able to do a lot more with 3.1 mils. But who knows what those other areas, what their property tax values are and why the need for 17.
Yeah, that was my other. So I look forward to that party, those couple ones each year, so.
I'll remember to put the slide back in.
Any other questions? Alright,
Thank you for having me tonight.
thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just echo what he said about thanking the staff? And this is the last audit for Wes. He will be missed, for sure. But I just wanna applaud him for his work and his years of service here at TCAPS, which is probably, I think about 24 years of service? 24. Yeah, so.
Very good.
But also Sandy and Julie provide so much, and really everybody involved in the business office. I mean, they're bugging payroll and benefits, and they're out talking to Paul about capital projects. Like, everybody's kind of participating in whatever they're looking for, purchasing, accounts payable, purchasing cards, all the good stuff. So whatever it is, we're happy to provide it.
Well, and I was gonna kick off by saying thank you to you and your team as well, and you left yourself out, but do appreciate the strong financial knowledge and support coming out of your department, so thank you. Thank you.
Okay, for our legislative update, federally, it's, don't know, well, maybe. But we've been pretty fortunate, it hasn't really hit us yet, although it was getting obviously very close. Obviously, some of our families have been hit by the cutting of SNAP benefits, which has made our breakfast and lunch program even more obviously needed with that, and that how much so many of our kids depend on that breakfast and lunch each day. And so we have been continuing to strategize and work with partners on getting food to families that need it outside of the school day. So kudos to all of our partners with that, whether that's a part directly of the Student Support Network, part of Father Fred, or all of our Step Up Northern Michigan, just the food pantries, all of it across the district of folks that stepped up and continue to do that before, during this government shutdown and after. But we are continuing to look at that. I know that our partner NMCAA that runs Head Start was getting close to having some real affected things here soon on the federal funding aspect of that. So we'll see what happens by the end of the week here if the federal government's back open. But we're continuing to monitor that and how that might affect any grants or school funds moving forward. On the statewide realm, we're just continuing to decipher and get information about state aid and all the different components of that. One that is directly related is Section 31AA, which we'll have a conversation on a little bit later here, I expect. But lots of questions, and again, lots of grants that are not even out yet as far as information, such as there's money for SROs that's in the budget that's competitive, money for infrastructure that's competitive, that we do not even have any applications or anything on and don't expect to for a while. We have a small component that was put in the budget for some educator compensation things. Then again, we have no clarity and no application, and probably don't expect that till at least February. From that standpoint with the state budget. So keeping our conversations going with all of our professional organizations, as well as the State Department of Ed and our local legislators, to continue to learn more as they MDA deciphers and puts out the regulations related to those. So we will keep you informed as we begin to learn more with with that, so. Anything with the state or federal,
I just wanted to ask about the transportation competitive, I assume that's a grant.
that is not competitive, that is formula driven based on student counts of morning riders.
Okay.
So again, but
It's
until,
unfortunate that it's morning
Yep,
for us, we have
yep.
a lot more afternoon, but
Yep. But so that, our counts were put in October, but we have not, and probably won't see, my guess is until after the new year, of exactly what that lands and get clarification of exactly the amount we can expect within our state aid payments on that categorical.
Is there a significant difference between morning and?
Yes.
We covered
Yes.
that in finance.
Yep. Any other questions on that? Okay, tenure, and then a part of mine, I'm gonna take liberty within the superintendent's report to add an E, because this is my section. Do wanna give an update on TAG, but I'm gonna go ahead and kind of go first with the tenures that we have.
So it's my pleasure to recognize Lee Neveu, who has met the requirements and completed successfully her probationary period and is now recognized by the state of Michigan as having tenure with Traverse City Area Public Schools. So I just join in congratulating her on this career milestone.
Okay, thank you, and congratulations. Want to let you know and update you on where we're at with our TAG plan. We, as you may remember, last board meeting, we talked about gathering some data information. I was able to pass on that survey information onto the board that we had received late Friday to close out that. And so Dan led a good virtual conversation with all of our current fourth grade TAG parents. And then obviously that information was followed up with in the survey. Really good information. I'm glad we did it. I think we learned a little bit. One of the things that really wasn't quite registering in my mind was that our fifth grade is currently blended classes. So they're not east and west. They're mix up of all of those kids. And so as one of the things that kind of came through loud and clear from those parents is they did ask if there's any way to have those kids finish out together.
You mean the fourth grade?
The current fourth graders that'll be fifth graders next year.
Yeah.
Yep, to be able to be together, for that, to not be broken up from friendships, separate, which had a lot of merit to me and thought. And then, what that allows us to do then is obviously we'd have a brand new incoming group of fourth graders next year that still have to test, that could, come together knowing what the plan is. They can decide if they wanna test or even accept a spot with that. So we've talked to all of our building administrators, and at this point, our plan is for next year, we will have our current fourth graders, rising fifth graders, they will be at Montessori for 1 year to finish out. And with that, we're going to, our MOCI program, which is currently at, our MICI program, which is currently at central grade, we were planning on putting there. So what our hope is, there's a chance, and we will not know until we get enrollments this summer, that there might be one room left here for the MICI program to be able to be in. Now, I remind you that that's a program that actually has grade span of years. We even have some sixth graders that are in that program. That's why we really liked the idea of Montessori for those kids. They're interested, Montessori is, of a peer-to-peer program. That's a K-8 building, so we have some sixth graders there already. So that really is our ultimate fit, but for a year to be able to honor our fifth grade parents with the current TAG kids. We are hoping to be here. If not, we could do a 1-year contingency of having those kids go to Cherry Knoll. We do have room there. We don't think it's a long-term room there. Scott had the chance to go to the housing summit. I've had the chance a lot. If you see the housing, and especially apartments that are working towards workforce housing that's happening in that 3 Mile and Hammond, 3 Mile and Potter Road and Lafreniere, all that. So between that Traverse Heights and Cherry Knoll area, we're expecting growth. Again, 58 kids, 60 kids is all you need to fill those 2 rooms up. But for a year, we know those are a couple years from first opening. We think we could do that. And then our plan would be for that 27, 28 year, we would have those fourth grade tag kids stay at those buildings of Silver Lake and Eastern, and the incoming new fourth graders would also be in those buildings. But it gives us a year to just have one class at each, to be able to figure things out. Our preschool that's currently there, that's not full, but that's there, can stay at Eastern for 1 year while we completely take our time, figure that out. We do have some spaces. I've reached out to the college even about an opportunity right next door. We could possibly do something at Central High School. It gives us a year to figure that out. It honors our parents in the TAG program now, and it gives a slow roll into Eastern and Silver Lake. So we think this is the best plan for it. And so my plan is after tonight to move that plan forward. But I wanted to take any questions the board might have.
Does NMC have a preschool kind of program?
Not that are associated at least with us, and so I have a call out, I haven't had an opportunity yet to follow up, but it is something right next door we're intrigued on, Beth, if that might be an option and an opportunity, especially, if we have possibly even a part of TC High of new moms or dads that might be able to take advantage of that. I will tell you, good news is that as of right now, we do not have any pregnant moms at TC High. I think that's the information I heard the other day. And so, but in that case scenario, we have more kids that we're trying to get some opportunities at MC from TCI, and obviously have our dual enrollment programs and that there, but being right next, we may have some parents that are going back to school at NMC that could fit, so it's something we're exploring. This gives us a year to cultivate those conversations and that from that point, Beth.
There's nothing that basically identifies all the preschool or even daycare that's in the Traverse City area. There's no clearinghouse.
Well, there's a Great Start Collaborative that just kind of got cut from the budget, so all those people that were doing that from the ISD have been discontinued, so we really don't have an avenue. But from word of mouth, we can try and learn more, but to my knowledge, and correct me if anybody else
NMC
has.
rents space, I think, to Munson right now, so there is a small area for theirs, but it's not like open to everybody in NMC, it's a rented
It's
space.
got to have something.
Yeah.
I would think. Yeah, that would be an interesting thing to know.
But this would give us a full year to be able to explore fully what our options, if we need it. We may get it next year. Remember, that's a tuition-based preschool program, not our GSRP. And it's only half full right now. We had full sections and we had one empty this year and not full this year. Let's see where that goes, but we will have a plan clear, articulated as we get into this next year for the following year of what we're gonna do with that if needed.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time and having that discussion with the current fourth grade tag teachers. I know last month that there was a lot of interest in having a quick decision, and I was probably swept up in that, I will admit. But I'm glad that we took a pause and the administration gathered that additional information and came out with a different outcome. So thanks to all for that. One question I had about the fourth grade, I'm just wondering what the administration's thinking in terms of the fifth grade teachers next year, because the current fifth grade teachers are retiring at the end of this year. So the current fourth grade teachers, will they move up to fifth grade with that cohort and continue that specialized teaching, or are you thinking of retaining?
Haven't had that conversation yet from a staffing standpoint. I know that we've talked a little bit about it. There might be one teacher that's interested in the Eastern class. But we have to open that up to all of our teaching staff as far as interest in that. And then if we don't fill, we would obviously post a part of our entire HR process that looks all over the country with our handshake system that puts out all over the country interest, and as we do with all of our teachers. So, but we would go through that process. Once we have this, people will know, our parents that are interested in testing, with the COGET this year will know where they would end up, between one of the two. And we will make sure we clearly advertise and explain exactly what that plan is.
Okay.
I just have a question, and thank you for listening to the parents and the current fourth grade tag. Something I hadn't even thought of, so I appreciate you guys just listening. But just curious, because just from previous, and I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but previous conversations about Montessori.
Yeah.
and how that has shifted.
It's not a great fit still. You know, I mean, if you think about it, we're gonna have to figure out an art teacher to go over there. They don't have art. It's embedded within their curriculum, with that. And we really think that, you know, talking to their staff for the benefit of the kids that are there, that MyKai class fits better, from that standpoint. But for the sake of what the parents are asking of what they, you know, there was some confusion whether they understood that up front or not, that it might be split up this year. We think that for 1 year, this is the best. We're gonna learn and see where it all lands. You know, that this is our plan moving forward. Things, you know, could, but we think once we don't wanna transition a group of the kids in TAG twice. Like, once these kids start at Eastern and Silver Lake, we want them to be embedded into as part of the building, and we've talked with our principals about that. Even staff, I had the chance to go over to Eastern this morning, talk to one of the fifth grade teachers, you know, this gives us a chance to have those kids become a part, learn, you know, the culture of that building, and then the following year, like, to have them pulled out again. They're at a different school now, come to a different, then a third, we don't think that's fair to those kids either. So this is what we think, just with the mix of it all, we're trying to do what we believe is best for kids and the culture of those buildings, and this is the model that we think in the end is best. Temporarily fitting some things because of places and classroom sizes and all that we think works.
Okay, thanks.
All right, any other questions?
No, I'd like to thank Dan and his staff, whoever coordinated the call. It really helps a lot to be able to at least have them feel and understand that they're part of the solution. And we didn't provide maximum flexibility on this, so it was kind of nice to zero in on something they can live with, and ultimately maybe we can live with for a year. So thanks.
It definitely was one of the harder puzzles to look at.
Yeah.
It seems like it should be simpler than what it is, but when you get into it.
When you essentially close a building down for 3 years, it's one of your largest buildings, and, you know, it squeezed into this space. We always knew that was gonna be a challenge, that, you know, but we wanna honor all of our kids, all of our programs. We honor ourselves being a district of choices, and supporting all kids is our strategic plan to say. So we are working towards this will also even the classes out, and we will see where this lands with this each side of town. Our hope is that we actually end up with full classes and both sides, and that works. And if you look at the data, you'll see a lot say, oh, we were Eastern, this is like a plus, a double, you know, a double. You know, so it'll be interesting to see what it has. No guarantees of what we learn, but we'll learn that and inform it and see, you know, again, we made space available at the new renovated central grade if the board chooses to have that go back, and we have options moving forward in the future.
We may find that the TAG program gets bigger
We may,
with this.
we may.
you know.
We'll see,
So yeah,
we'll see.
nice work, good questions.
And I do have a district highlights yet, for tonight, so I kind of skipped that a little bit, so. I did, so I will hit that now. November, again, is Native American Heritage Month, so the district is celebrating this Heritage Month with various activities, including our Spirit Week this week, the 10th through the 14th. We want to thank Lydia, our TCAPS Indigenous Education Program Coordinator, for organizing the Spirit Week. And so, again, we get a lot of support and help from Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians, and so we appreciate their support, and continue to do great work in the area of recognizing our Indigenous students and community. West Middle School's 8th grade symphony band has been selected to perform at the 2025 Michigan Music Conference taking place on Friday, January 23rd at 9 a.m. at DeVos Performance Hall. This is an exceptional honor, as the Michigan Music Conference is widely regarded as the state championship for middle school bands. The West Middle School Symphony Band selection marks only the second time in school history that West Middle School has been featured on this prestigious stage, the last occurrence being in 2007. I had the chance to go see, I believe, West High School's band perform at DeVos a few years ago. Unbelievable experience. If you have the chance to go see it, you will not regret seeing just how awesome our kids do and what an awesome venue that is. Our Student Support Network is hosting the Winter Warm-Up Shop on Thursday, November 13th and Friday, November 14th. The Winter Warm-Up Shop offers free new and gently used winter outerwear and footwear for students currently enrolled in Traverse City Area Public Schools. Shopping is by appointment only and will take place at the TCAPS Administration Building, Glen Dumas, right here at 1009 South Oak Street. Please email Katie Kubish, which is KUBESHCA @tcaps.net for an appointment. So athletic things given to us by our athletic directors. West Senior High, the girls cross country team finished 7th at the Division I state finals. Tessa Mascari was first team All-State. Libby Shetler was named the Regional Coach of the Year. Boys cross country finished 11th in Division I state finals. In football, Drew Esper was named as the Saginaw Valley League Player of the Year. Boys soccer was the Big North Conference champions. Our girls swim team combined with Central High School as a conference champion. State swim qualifiers are swimmers Lila Glenn, Lauren Johnson, and Abby Houghton. And diving state qualifiers are Skylar Hawkins and Allie Labonte. Central High School, the girls cross country team finished 18th at the Division I state finals. The boys cross country runners, Caleb Keller, All-State, and selected to represent Team Michigan at the Nationals. And Jack Steen is also a state qualifier. Boys soccer was conference champs. Boys tennis conference champs and state finals qualifier. Volleyball conference champs, still going. And a football district champs, and still going. Also, to let you know, Traverse City High School has started the new Maverick Education Program. Each Friday, students have the opportunity to participate in activities that are centered around post-secondary opportunities, community service, team building, and cultural connections. During the first quarter, 73 students participated in at least 2 of the following Friday enrichment opportunities: all-school orientation activity, Reigning Liberty Ranch, Grand Traverse Regional Land Conservancy, Michigan Legacy Art Park, Kalkaska Munson Hospital, Music House Museum, Michigan Maritime Academy, Rennie Orchard, and TVC Airport Tour. After each experience, students incorporated characteristics of the TCAPS Portrait of a Graduate as part of their reflections. So excited about the work going on at TCI.
73 participated.
Yes,
Cool.
very good.
Awesome.
Then also want to recognize Katie Kubish. She was named by the Record Eagle as an influential woman of Northern Michigan for her work with the Student Support Network. As you all know, Katie works extremely hard and takes great pride in what she does, working with all of our team, and just very proud of her, and the recognition is well deserved, and just want to thank her for all of her work. So that is my highlights for tonight.
And last year was Christine.
Well, yeah, that was actually in our interventional leaders. That was just actually not that many months ago, so.
Josie too.
And Josie was last year as the influential woman of Northern Michigan as well.
Jessie Houghton
Jessie, too.
also.
And Jessie, all sorts of great women,
I tell
so,
you, the women have it.
for sure.
A question, can you just do a brief summary update on the bathroom facilities at the high
Yes.
schools and the middle schools?
Yes. So a part of our bond project, we have completed multiple renovations. When we did the Innovation and Manufacturing Centers at Central High School, we had a large addition of, I believe there are 9, I think,
So, estimate, yeah.
9 or 10 individual restrooms that are there for student use. And at West High School, part of our summer renovations in each, we were able to actually transition to large king restrooms. That's the state title for that, by the way. To about 20 individual units. So this was something that came out of our student, our board superintendent student advisory committee. So at our presentation that Josie and I had the opportunity to lead at the school board's conference, we were able to show that, and the students were able to talk about their conversations with that, and how they really felt heard, and be able to have facilities that they really like now. They think that they're much, much better. So as we continue to look at renovations and things and builds across the district, it's something that we want to try and incorporate when finances allow us to do so.
Are they pretty much in one particular area, or are they scattered?
So at West High School, we took one that was in the very back of the building, and then at the front in the commons area off, they were split. So they were boys and girls bathroom at the commons area and a boys and girl bathroom in the back that were completely gutted and turned into multiple single user with individual doors, and we've had that a part of our, if you wanna see that, people can go and take a look at our finance committee, and we've actually highlighted that in pictures and shown those a part of our updated construction projects.
But we do a blend too, so at all of our new elementary schools, we've added single users throughout for options. We always struggle with, there's some that would ask us to have no gang restrooms, and like John said, that's a technical term. But we are, there's certain code for plumbing requirements and your counts. And at some point, if you do all single users, the amount of square foot you need just gets to be unreasonable, and so we do a blend.
Classrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then regarding locker rooms, you don't have locker rooms to worry about at the middle schools and elementary.
We do have them, yeah, we do have them, but that's something as we continue to look at and build, we're continuing to look at options for students that may want a private space. So as we continue to work on our other buildings, it's something we'll have conversations on as we go through with our finance committee to see.
It was a point to recognize in the central high school renovations for the gym, that we did address locker rooms and have an option for students that would like privacy. So
And then the gym that's going in at Central.
That's what she was just talking
that's
about.
what I'm talking, yeah.
Okay.
So it's already
I see
integrated
that.
into the plan that we have options within the locker room for complete privacy for somebody to shower and use a restroom.
Okay, I
So,
was thinking Central, great.
oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay,
Let's go there, yeah.
thank you.
I just wanted to give a shout out to all of the trustees who made it to that Michigan Association of School Boards Annual Leadership Conference too. From Thursday through Saturday, every single one of us, 7, plus the superintendent, plus Connie Taylor, made it to at least part of the conference, and that was a really good showing for our district.
For sure.
Yep.
You know, we skimmed over it rather quickly, but I'd like to congratulate Coach Sugars for a win in Muskegon and wish him good luck at Fort Hill Central. I mean, that's as far as they've gotten in a while, so I hope they continue that.
Lots of kids still in a lot of cool stuff, and hockey's starting and robotics is rolling, so we'll have plenty to continue as well to celebrate.
Okay, without any other questions, we'll move on to board committee reports, curriculum committee, October 28th, trustee Ballinger.
Okay, yeah, so trustees Vacheris and Zach and I met with the administration on October 28th for the curriculum committee meeting. We started with a couple of procedural items, added a clarifying statement to the prior month's meeting minutes. There were no updates to our district course catalog. We did approve and move to consent 3 field trip requests for both middle schools to go to Washington DC and West Senior High to go to Australia and New Zealand in a couple of years, which is exciting. Moving on to informational items, we first had a presentation about our mobile healthcare unit. And I assume all trustees have seen this, but for the benefit of the public, I'll just give a quick summary. So the mobile healthcare unit is a partnership with the TCAPS Student Health Center, and we had a presentation from Hannah Wilson, who's a physician's assistant and the medical provider there. This is a partnership through Northern Michigan Health Services. It's funded by a state grant, and they believe it's sustainable with bipartisan support. It was launched at Traverse City High this year in September, and they had 2 visits so far, serving 16 students. And their aim is to hit 2 schools per month for the remainder of this school year. The second item under information was the Northwest Michigan Community Action Agency partnership with TCAPS, which is a little bit different because it focuses on mental health supports. So right now, there are 4 liaisons at 4 elementary schools: Traverse Heights, Blair, Long Lake, and Central Grade. They basically take a caseload of 15 students at any given point in time for about 30 to 90 days, and they served about 75 students last year. Moving on to our learning series, we went over the elementary fall data, which was NWEA results for kindergarten through 5th grade. The highlights there were that 47 to 60% of our kids reached proficiency in math. This is K through 5. And then 50 to 63% hit proficiency for reading. And then briefly, we also talked about Ames Web, which is a separate test of all elementary school students for their oral reading fluency. Angela Sides McKay, principal at Willow Hill, and Jonathan Sweegles, principal at Eastern, then talked about how they and every building principal at the 11 elementary schools review data 3 times a year systematically and basically, do a plan, a do, a check, an act cycle. Act meaning revise maybe going forward based on the latest results. One quote from Mr. Sweegles I really liked was, he said a takeaway for them was for teachers to cut the fluff and teach the stuff to enhance learning. With that, we had our celebrations and successes as usual, and our next board curriculum committee meeting is on Tuesday, December 2nd at 8:30 a.m. here at the administration at Glen Loomis.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Okay, board finance and operations, reporting out by trustee Harding.
Well, mine won't be nearly as exciting as that report. Everything we did primarily at finance was informational items. So we spent a fair amount of time on the new transportation policy or the current transportation policy and talked about some of the new driving software capabilities. And it was interesting, and we didn't necessarily make any recommendations, but it was for information only. I think that it was presented. Went through capital projects, went through Central High School renovation, heard a report out on sustainability. Christine updated us on finance, and then we concluded with district purchases. So it was pretty routine, and we were out of there within 45 minutes. Our next meeting will be December 2nd, I believe.
Okay,
Checking here on my computer.
I believe that is,
Oh,
no.
December 4th, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's
There
it.
you go, all right. I'll be doing the executive committee report out. It was, we had your meeting beat by 45 minutes. We went in at 4 o'clock. It was, I believe, Sarah's first executive committee meeting. They're not usually, oh, it was second, okay, good. They're not normally like they were the last time. It was a very light agenda, board policy, one moving under consent, and we had an HR update. Still starting to get in some of the early retirements and posting early for positions. We do still have open positions with TCAPS, facilities and bus drivers, open interviews being conducted. Other than that, there was a low amount of business that day, so we adjourned at 4:07. And the next meeting is December 4th at 4 p.m. Again, in this room. Any questions on that?
Not specifically that, but when are the next office hours?
They're coming up right now.
I didn't know if we were gonna get.
Yep.
Okay.
Board office hours, reporting out for the in-person meeting on October 23rd. Trustee Moore.
I just had one visitor, and that was it. Trustee Hardy and I talked about maybe at our organizational meeting proposing maybe some different ideas of how to incorporate our community into our meetings. He had a great suggestion to us to go to our PTO meetings. So something to think about and actually engage our PTOs. So again, we can discuss that at organizational meeting, but again, just one visitor, same topic.
And that has been a theme, and obviously we've discussed, and it is to the point where, I mean, we only have a couple more, so we might as well let it ride, but I agree with you as well, that we have to do something different, and that's,
Always willing to
We
try
want the
to
feedback.
get more people,
And thank you for filling in for me.
absolutely.
And I will take the next.
It sounds like you are taking the next one on November 20th, a virtual meeting on this one, so you
Oh, it is virtual.
You are virtual on November 20th, from 6 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
All
I've
right,
yet to do a virtual. I can always land on the live, so it's okay.
moving on then, consent agenda, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
I move that the Board of Education approve the consent calendar as presented and without discussion.
I second.
All right, second, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Discussion item, why it was such a light executive agenda is there was one discussion item, school safety update, found it Dr. Van Wyk.
Yes. So over the last couple of months, Patrick McManus, our Director of Safety and Security, has conducted comprehensive safety presentations across the district, engaging both staff and students at each school. Primary focus of this initiative has been a detailed review of safety drills, specifically emphasizing lockdown procedures. These sessions clearly outline how the drills operate, the necessary actions to take with different scenarios, and the importance of staying safe during the training exercises. Patrick tailored specific training for elementary and secondary levels and included administrative staff and school resource officers with some of the presentations to cover a wide range of topics, including online safety and bullying. A core message delivered throughout all presentations stresses the importance of being safe, responsible, and respectful, not just during drills, but as a continuous expectation for student conduct while at school. Ma'am.
Thank you. Now we're at the second public comment. Any additional public comment? No, hearing none, okay, and then, so we'll just, before we get to the next agenda item, are you here for civics class by any chance?
Come on up and get a
We're
seat.
gonna go into closed session at the next item, so we can actually sign your form now, before we do that.
We won't make
can-
you wait for our
Yeah, we
closed
won't make you wait
session.
while we're not in the room.
Any
come to
board
any
member.
board member.
Pick any of those seven, from her to
Pass her around.
who's the lucky one?
You got a shorter one, usually you.
He's like, you're all talking at me.
Just wanna get out of here.
Ma'am, I'm out of here. He's like, before they change their mind, I'm out of here.
Okay, we are now at the closed session portion of the agenda. May I have a motion for the board to go into closed session?
I move that the Board of Education go into closed session for the purposes of consulting with an attorney as allowed by the Open Meetings Act, PA 267 of 1976, Section 8E, and to consider a privileged written attorney-client communication as allowed by the Open Meetings Act, PA 267 of 1976, Section 8H.
I second.
Second, all right, Beth seconds. Any discussion? Tammy, please conduct a roll call vote.
Trustee Moore?
Yes.
Trustee Pack?
Yes.
Trustee Bajeris?
Yes.
Trustee Ballinger?
Yes.
Trustee Hardy?
Aye.
Trustee Schmidt?
Yes.
And Trustee Newman Bale?
Yes, motion carries requiring 5 votes passed, but unanimously does, so we are now in closed session. We return to this room, as well as online, when we're done with closed session. Just now, I'm walking toward, like, cause I'm like,
When do you need, John?
jumping in, everyone's like, what do
When
you
do
do?
you need the board, you need today? All right, do I need to sign something?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I just, we did return to open session, just, to clarify that.
So, real quick, as a procedural item,
Yes.
that we would need to add a discussion item to the agenda.
Yep.
And so that would take a supermajority to do so.
Yep, and I was going to, I motion that we add a discussion item, which will be item 12, to the agenda to discuss specifically pending or
31 AA.
AA funds.
Second.
Second? Any discussion? Tammy, please conduct a roll call vote.
Trustee Newman Bale,
Yes.
trustee Moon Moore,
Yes.
trustee Bajeris,
Yes.
trustee Bellinger,
Yes.
trustee Hardy,
Aye.
trustee Peck,
Yes.
trustee Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, so the next discussion item is item 12, which is the discussion on 31 AA funds. So just to add a little clarifying here is with the state budgeting process, we have some parts of the budget that we're a little unsure on. So we did have communication regarding options to doing on that specific thing. Being a little careful as board members here, we did come out of closed session. We cannot talk about what was discussed in the closed session, but a lot of this is publicly available information that we can certainly ask questions about. So we just had a lot of information, and I'm sure there's some discussion that we want to have. Specifically, the issue is in the 31 AA at-risk funds is there's a dollar amount that's allocated that we have to accept terms for. And quite specifically, I think that, and we obviously haven't discussed this, but in the presentation, I think I certainly don't know what we're agreeing to in that section, and I think that's the crux of the issue. So I guess we can open it up, because I'm sure there's questions. But specifically, the question is do we want to seek legal clarification on what that means?
Just to clarify, section 31AA refers to mental health and safety, not at risk.
Yep,
Sorry,
31A,
yeah, I'm
that
sorry,
is
yes.
correct.
That's a good point. The other thing that makes it concerning is that it lasts forever. And so that there's no period of time where if you waive certain rights that it's in perpetuity. you know, until I guess you die.
Providing you're still associated with TCAPS.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's part of the clarity. Okay, I'm just not gonna say a word.
And I think let's, before we even kick off the discussion, I think it's important to say, and I'm asking us to have this discussion, I guess, but like, I don't think any of us are opposed to the intent of the legislation, which is to basically say if there is a situation, we will not impede an investigation into that situation. I think all of us support that objective. So I don't think we're trying to fight on the objective of the legislation, just purely the fact that we don't understand how it could be applied to us in general. So is that fair to say? I mean, I think it's obvious, but I feel like that is important for us to say.
Yeah, Bridge, Michigan just did a article on this last week, and it lays it out that if a district takes the Section 31AA funding this current school year, there are strings attached, and the strings are very vague and could have serious consequences for a district and the Board of Education and the superintendent. So it's to me a case of, you know, there were lessons learned at Oxford with their catastrophe a few years ago that are very grave and we all take seriously, but the legislation hasn't been the perfect fix, and there are unintended consequences that impose a lot of risk for districts.
And I think a lot of my concern outside of the not being able to understand exactly what the definitions and intent is that I want to make sure that if we, as a school board, we need to attract members. I mean, we're lucky, we have people running for our school board. There's a lot of people who do not have people running right now. That's already a problem in the state. We're volunteers, and to say that we're gonna not get paid, be subject to lawsuits, and not be able to get any legal advice for those lawsuits is a really hard thing to ask a massive majority of the population. And I think it damages our school system, not our school system, the entire school system of the state. And just places unreasonable burden, and to be honest, leads school board members to have to make a decision to either talk to an attorney, which could be subject to, or a lot of people are just not gonna make a decision. They're just gonna keep quiet. It's gonna make the problem worse, I think, so.
Well, and again, the response to a tragedy, right, you're not focusing on the prevention of such a tragedy, and so, yeah, but the unknown, it's the unknown of, yeah. And I think that's, or the clarity, I guess, not the unknown, but the clarity of what this 31AA is. Or is not. I mean, truly.
Yeah, and outside of any of this, I asked, I was in Lansing, Lansing last week, talking to legislators and other people just all over kind of the spectrum who were aware of this, and every single person had a different take on what that meant. Which to me indicates that it is vague and we can't understand what it is and how are we meant to accept something we don't understand the terms of. So.
And I'll say, that said, there are school districts in Michigan who are opting in, including Lansing Public School District. But it's, yeah, absolutely hard. And I hate that we're put in this position. Because to Scott's point, of course we'll be open to investigations, of course we'll be transparent, of course we'll hold ourselves accountable.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, right now, the discussion at hand isn't whether we accept or don't accept funds. Although I think after that, we can have as part of that discussion, you know, probably setting up another board meeting that we don't need a board motion to do, but we should probably set up, have that conversation as part of this. But our specific decision at this point is, do we join a lawsuit that gives us clarity specific to that section? That is what we have to decide.
But we don't have to decide that right now tonight.
We have to decide if we're gonna join the lawsuit today. to get immediate, to see if we can get to see if we can get clarity on an emergency basis before we're required to opt in or opt out.
Okay, and the decision needs to be made just for public by November 30th.
So we have to make the decision to accept or not accept the funds by November 30th.
Right.
The superintendent technically does.
Right.
And so we have to, I think right now is there's a really big debate about whether we can accept those funds. I mean, I think that's a discussion that we have to have, and we should set up the board meeting to have that discussion. But in the meantime, before we even get there, I think the only option is to seek as much clarity as we can.
By way of an injunction, if
By way-
if we can secure it.
So you mentioned Lansing Public Schools, so was there reasoning behind why they accepted, I mean,
No, I'm just reading an article in Bridge, and they posted their link to their resolution that they adopted.
I think there's a couple of things. One is we just came off of a budget cycle that was most tedious, and delayed in federal funding. There's a lot of unknowns right now. We had our audit earlier today, and we have a high fund balance. I wouldn't say high fund balance, but we certainly have a higher fund balance than we've had for a long time, and we are financially stable, so we have those. I can tell you, there's a lot of districts that are not in that way. We have, I wouldn't say we have the option, because I don't know if this is a horrible decision to make, but
to say that $1 million, whatever is,
I would be remiss to also mention that, when we didn't get the chance to see the language and it was passed out 2 hours before it was to be passed for our associations, our school board associations, others, to be able to sit and take a look at that and have the conversation with our local legislators, this very well could have been fixed before we got to this point. But the fact that none of those transparent things, I think it's ironic of we really want transparency in this, but yet our legislature didn't give us transparency to be able to have that debate is one of the reasons why we're sitting here today.
And that may well have been their intent, I don't know.
and it's not as simple as, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong in this, John, this is such a complicated matter with so many unknowns, but I have concerns legally, like, let's say, okay, we just accept this and take the money. We're contractually obligated to defend and waive, protect those constitutional rights as well, which I don't know what lawsuits that could lead against us as a district if we do opt in. I can see challenges from multiple partners that we've got indemnity agreements in.
It goes down to basically every employee.
Yeah.
And again, Troon's opinion, dig it out there, is that if boards accept, they said that board members should consider somehow independent legal coverage for themselves. Again, one law firm's opinion that was mentioned in a webinar. Again, another law firm may say, no, I think that's the point, can we get some clarification? If the legislature is not willing, I think our only other choice, to maybe consider that is for a judge to give us a legal opinion, and maybe there's, can bring clarity to it and go, oh, now we know. But, if we could get that before November 30th, before the board, before I have to go in and get direction from the board to make it click, is what we're looking for.
And I'd also, but just real quick, like to make a note that our ISD is meeting as a board tomorrow. So I think that's important too, just from that perspective, just for the community.
Because the thing is you're not just speaking for yourself. If I'm no longer on this board, I have spoken for my replacement until hell freezes over. And I don't think I can do that responsibly.
And that's my problem too, is good luck recruiting competent,
Or
willing board members.
superintendents, or anything. I mean, they've cut all the legal protections that are given to you constitutionally out from under you. And that's unconscionable, in my opinion.
I agree. So yeah, I think it's a problematic, go ahead, actually.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, for the public record, do we need to cite the party that has led this lawsuit?
I think we
Because we are a party, we are just saying we are a party.
Yeah, we're going to, but one thing that we should clarify is that, at this time, we're not asking to expend any funds, district funds. Like, we're not asking the board to, spend money on this right now. I think it's a big enough issue that those are being covered elsewhere right now.
Could I get a little leeway if there's a little bit, to consider of under certain amount, just if there is some documents or something that does,
Yeah.
just in case, I would hate to have to bring it back if there was something small, but if you wanted to, that's up to you, but I'm just thinking out loud here. While it's been stated that, like, if there's something that,
Yeah, I don't think, technically, I think you've got within your spending.
I do.
So the board we don't have to include that in the motion, but the board at
True,
least.
that is true, I do have up to a certain dollar amount that I have discretion to be able to do.
And I don't think we'd be anywhere close to that.
It would, that's true.
So I think, yeah, obviously if there's very nominal, fees,
And if there is whatever it is, I'll make sure to inform the board, if the board were
That's-
to choose moving forward.
that's what I would ask, is if there is any nominal fees, but they would be extremely nominal.
But as of right now, I kind of can tell you, the leaders have said at this point that they're taking they're not even gonna send me an invoice or anything, anybody, so that was what was stated.
Of course, if we don't approve it, then it'd be really hard for them to ask for it.
That's correct.
Should we get the motion on the table?
Yeah, I'm happy to have what a proposed motion would be, so everyone knows.
Ty, did you want to read the motion?
No, I don't think he does.
You volunteered.
No, I don't.
Shall I?
Yeah, sure, anyone can, I'm happy to do it as well, so.
I move that the Board of Education authorize Traverse City Public Schools, area public schools, participation in the proposed lawsuit against the state and such other defendants as may be appropriate, challenging the constitutionality of section 31AA 2 and 9.
So, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Alright, second. So the motion is on the table, discussion can continue, and obviously I wanna make sure that everything is covered on this as well.
Ty has a question.
Can someone explain the proposed lawsuit?
Well, there is not a lawsuit yet, there is one circulating that.
So can someone just explain this line, participation in the proposed lawsuit
So
against the
you
state?
may want to rephrase it just to authorize the superintendent to file suit.
That's what I would have thought,
That's
but
good.
this was.
This is what they gave us, okay, but again, this is your guys' make it any way you want, any way to explain, but as of right now, we have, a proposal from Miller Johnson. Canfield, thank you. Miller Canfield to file suit.
That's a construction firm.
And so they have asked us if we would be an interested party in that suit.
So we could withdraw the motion on the table and make it more specific at the board. To be honest, I would have done so, but the reason
I'm only giving you that as always suggested language, it's never,
I do
You
get
know.
that, but usually when it's
I know.
presented in this way,
I know.
it's usually much.
I know. I asked for it just for you to have it, and that's what
Okay.
they've given me, so.
I can withdraw
Yeah, let's,
my motion
yep, okay, there's a.
and rephrase
Okay,
the
Withdraw my
motion.
second as well.
well, wait till you get the rephrase first.
No, I can.
I'll withdraw your second,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, thank you,
Withdrawing it,
okay,
yes.
yes.
So I move that the Board of Education authorize Traverse City Area Public Schools Superintendent to authorize the participation in the proposed lawsuit against the state and such other defendants as may be appropriate, challenging the constitutionality, and it's the US constitutionality of section 31AA 2 and 9.
I
Would that
think-
do it? No?
I would withdraw that suit.
Well, before you do, there was, cause it is Traverse City, authorizing Traverse City Area Public Schools Superintendent
To file suit.
To file suit, she said proposed that language. And I also would say that this is US and state constitution.
Yeah, that part I was gonna, but before we make another one, let's,
Participation, no, superintendent
Yeah,
to
public schools.
file a lawsuit against the state, right?
But
Not even proposed, because there's nothing, as to Ty's point, there's nothing really proposed at this point.
Correct.
But are you technically filing from a, Connie, are you filing, are you joining?
You're joining.
Okay,
So
to the lawyer. I'll
That's
take
I
what she
said. That's
says.
why I was.
We're not the
That's what I said.
independent filer.
Right,
That's
so
join the
to join a lawsuit against the state and such other defendants as may be appropriate.
It is the proposed lawsuit, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Yeah, but
proposed
we
as
don't-
disjuncture.
To Ty's point, we don't even know what's proposed at this point. We're just
It's
joining a
What it
lawsuit.
is to challenge.
to join
is
a
what's
lawsuit,
proposed.
because it doesn't matter whether it's proposed or not. It won't be proposed when he's joining it.
Well, the first thing that's gonna happen is the press is gonna ask for the proposed lawsuit.
Against the state and such defendants as may be appropriate.
We
And
don't have-
constitutionality,
We
it
don't
doesn't
have the
say
language
statewide.
at this
Right.
point.
Alright, so I think we got it. Do you have it down? You want me to try again? You want me to do it? You're withdrawing your previous
I'll
motion?
withdraw my second one
Yep.
and
Defer.
Oh,
I'll
man.
defer it.
I was hoping,
To the president of the school board.
I may talk slowly to make sure I get it through, but that's okay. I move that the Board of Education authorize Traverse City Area Public Schools Superintendent to join a lawsuit against the state and such other defendants as may be appropriate, challenging the constitutionality of section 31 AA, sections 2 and 9.
I second it.
Alright,
You got my mouth.
We'll be in again.
okay, so we now have a motion on the table, which I do agree with you, Ty, I like that, I like the wording obviously better, so thank you. But did you have any other questions on it, was that,
Well, I understand, this is a way for us to, your words, get clarity around the strings attached to the funding. And I also understand that we, as a body, need to make a decision whether to accept this $1.2 million that funds all sorts of important
And
things.
that's approximate, I just wanna put it, we haven't gotten the actual number
Yeah,
yet.
that
but-
funds all
yep.
sorts of important things in across our school district, including guidance counselors. So I understand that, and if this injunction happens before the 30th and it's ruled unconstitutional, what would we do then?
if it is ruled unconstitutional, then no one has to
Yeah,
sign it.
it kinda.
It's,
I just wanna be clear, that's what's gonna happen. So we're gonna leave the lawsuit, right? The injunction provides clarity. What's going on here isn't legal with this related to 31 AA. Would we still be suing the state at that point?
what is a, Connie, tell me if I'm correct, what's like, if we do get word back that there is a injunction, it is a injunction that will likely be until the facts are finally determined,
Yeah,
which
it'll be
means,
for a determined period of time and then
Clarifying,
and then
So a
typically.
pause,
it'll be a pause.
so a pause.
Yeah,
so that the
So if
law
there's a
can be-
pause, then we will not come back here
We may not need to come back here.
before the 1st.
We don't know that outcome, possibly not.
Right.
That's right.
I would, outside of this afterwards, after we settle, get ready to do this, we can set another board meeting.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
we're not-
I'm just trying to wrap my head around, like, cause basically we're using this lever to force a decision around whether or not this is legal.
Correct.
or to buy us more time.
Or at least
It's
clarify,
more time.
or at least clarify, there could theoretically be a third option where there's clarity given that makes us and everyone else
That makes the
comfortable.
decision easier
Yes,
Correct.
or harder.
yeah, yeah.
I
don't think you
understand.
get much
I
time.
appreciate it.
And there's multiple things that could happen in the meantime, the Attorney General could give an opinion. You know, there are different things, but right now, we see no evidence that that's happening.
And this is the lever you're proposing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the other option is if what the legislators are telling us, cause they have communication amongst themselves that they're like, it's not a problem. So, yeah, the Attorney General could offer an opinion which is, that's as good as a court opinion.
Correct.
for the most part, is as good as a court opinion, so we can, if we get that, then that may
Make a
change.
decision if we agree with that or not.
Yeah.
And then that, or, like I said, Judge, but, you know, I anticipate, you know, either way, that, and again, we can talk about this a bit, but it wouldn't be bad for the board to meet again as we get close to the date, to be able to clarify where we're at in the situation and a decision on the funding. But after this motion, you know, after a vote, we can talk more about that.
I just
Okay.
wanted to acknowledge that, you know, my first reaction was, why wouldn't we just rely on the legislature to sort this out in a supplemental bill? You know, that would be the normal process. It does seem like this is kind of a bazooka taken out to fix it, but I'm gonna, you know, defer to your decades of experience on this.
I wish that they would take it up. I wish that they would, you know, with the legislative days that are left here before the hunting break, to be able to take this up and do it, but so far, every indication I've had, and I did talk to our lobbyist from Kelly Cawthorn today, and he sees no willingness to take up anything for that matter, period.
And do you think it's just because they have bigger priorities, or the legislators themselves are just?
I don't think they know what it means, I
Confusion.
don't think all that, I think that, you know, they just finished the budget, you know, weeks ago, and I just think that they just recognize that the timing is not probable by the date that MD is saying it has to be done, and MD's hands forced, because they have to get the payment out in the December payment, because the legislative language says they have to have it out before the end of December, so.
Right.
This is, because we, you know, what the determining factor was, I will tell you, this was originally due the 15th of November, and MD did push it back to the 30th to try, and I think, and I don't have any information to say prove this, but I think to give some more time for people to look at all this and think about maybe the legislator to act, all that, but I think they're taking it right up to the last minute they can before they have to calculate and get it in a state aid payment in December. And they have said that they are gonna liquidate all the funds in December to those that are in,
Yeah.
and those that are out will not have an option.
Yeah.
Now, could that change somehow? Yeah, but
So,
as it sits right now, that's where
If we get
we're
the
at.
injunction, that will change.
and that's why I think, to separate the two issues, I think, I mean, I guess we can go to a vote, but is there any other clarification any board member needs? Because I think,
I mean, we're joining, so we're joining, which to me means others. Do we know who those others are?
Not totally yet. Most of them all have board meetings tonight or first thing tomorrow.
I see.
And so to be able to, you know, say, so I wouldn't wanna speak on, I know that who we were on the call and others that I think are going to. And I will just say that they are larger entities of districts or ISDs from a cross-section of the state. But until their boards or their superintendents that have authorization in their policies to their superintendent to do it on their behalf, declare that, we won't know that until the next 24 hours.
Okay, last question. Has TCAPS ever filed suit against the state?
Yes, not since I've been here, but I do know that there was, I do believe, a case involving people accounting of $1 million that somehow was there before I came.
You were definitely on the board.
You lost that one, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And just to your judgment and expertise, can you speak to maybe some cons of why, some consequences if we enter into and sue the state on this? Are there any unforeseen consequences?
Yes.
Okay.
One is, I think, there will be questions of the Oxford situation, and I think we have to be ultimately clear, like we have tonight, but that we don't disagree with the spirit, we understand the realities. I think we just feel we need clarity because there is so ambiguous the language related to attorney-client privilege and to mass casualty and all those things that we don't understand, and our legal advice we're given is that it is ambiguous and like, you know, this is there's just so unknowns. And so what we're trying to do is ask and get clarity from the courts of exactly what that is and if it's legal or not, as you'd said. And then from there, we think we can make a better decision.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I don't take suing the state lightly, but
No.
to Josie's point, it does seem a bit of a bazooka, but I'm gonna defer to your expertise on this and,
I really do not wanna do this.
okay.
But I
Well,
feel.
I also don't wanna do
I
it.
feel a professional obligation and an obligation to our employees, our future board members, future employees, future superintendent.
And
Like, we
students.
need clarity to this, and students especially.
That's right.
That we need clarity so that we can make a determination. I don't take lightly, as you all know, and I know you don't either, $1.2 million, that means a lot for our kids in our district. But at the same point, I have an obligation to all of those entities to at least ask for clarity, and the only avenue we right now have that we think is viable is through the court.
And when language says you're waiving all privileges, and there's no definition of what those privileges are, all means all.
All constitutional rights are
You
gone.
know, what would fall under that umbrella? It's not narrowly tailored, at least as it's written, in my opinion, to achieve what they were hoping to achieve, which was good intentioned. It's just not narrowly tailored sufficiently for that. And once you sign on, you know what I mean, or don't challenge, it goes on forever. So you are waiving potential privileges you don't even know you're waiving.
And previous,
Correct.
potentially.
And one other point on this, we are able to, before November 30th, before we sign the document, to withdraw this.
Which we wouldn't sign, we just would not check the boxes. There's a choice of checking the boxes and certifying or not.
Will we still be in the lawsuit if we don't check?
That is the
consent?
question you will have to ask yourself when we get closer. The board's gonna have to yet make a decision on where you go. We're hoping to get clarity before you have to make that decision.
Okay,
Which part of the nice part about it is we're without giving permission to expend funds,
right.
you know, like it limits.
So we're suing the state for.
So what
free.
I wanna bring clarity is the board is the only one that has the ability in our policies to go into suit, and the board is the only one that has the ability to withdraw from it.
Right.
And so the board would have to take action at any point it wanted to withdraw. I would even ask in this at a point before the 30th, the board, if it decided it wanted to continue, to also make a motion to do that in the future, if the board so chose. So this is definitely not a final stop. This is, in my mind, a two-week decision, and then we revisit it again within the 2 weeks. Or
Yeah.
before 3 weeks, before the 30th, when we have to make a declaration in the Nexus system with an MD.
And I don't want to do this, but I call this a plea for help to the state to clarify what we need to know to make a decision for the safety of our kids. And that's really where I'm at.
The state or the federal, or a federal judge.
Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I'm asking the state to let us know, but yes, if the courts or any other avenue has to be the one to let us know, then so be it, but
So be it.
Okay, ready to vote?
yes, Tammy, please conduct a roll call vote.
Trustee Newman Bale,
Yes.
trustee Pack,
Yes.
trustee Bajeris,
Yes.
trustee Ballinger,
Yes.
trustee Hardy,
Aye.
trustee Moon
Yes.
trustee Schmidt.
Yes.
Alright, motion carries. I do appreciate this is a particularly difficult, complicated subject with no good outcomes, but we have our 2 weeks to find out if we can get some clarity.
And I will keep the board updated every step of the way as I learn information.
Now, with that, I guess, we can either set a meeting today or we can have Tammy's, survey everyone and find a time that works.
We have a hard time setting a meeting time until we know whether or not we're gonna get any
Well,
kind of.
it's gonna have to be as late as possible. We can move it, and that's why I said I can call the meeting. I guess the first point is we're like, just so the public and the board knows, we are going to most likely be required to have a meeting. I wouldn't say most
Before
likely,
November
before
30th.
November 30th.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Well then, what about Friday the 28th? I mean, rather than Saturday or Sunday.
Can I just say this? Like, here's my weird feeling, right? The court's probably not gonna meet on Saturday, but it wouldn't shock me to see this go to Friday.
Let's let, can we let Tammy coordinate?
Yeah,
We
let's-
totally can, and that's why I said I'm happy to,
And you have that ability, you know, you have to declare a special meeting by, how many hours? I think it's
48?
No,
Emergency
I
is
think
18.
36, emergency is 18, but I think, I wanna say it has to be posted within 36 hours for a special meeting,
So
somewhere
you're
in there.
saying Saturday or Sunday is probably more likely to, okay.
Again, I think let's get some dates, and then if I can get some clarity on that as we get closer, and if we think, I can give the board some information on where that is, and then I can work with Scott based on availability to set a date.
Yeah,
That
and just as long as we know, I mean, who's traveling and who's not traveling.
We will, we'll find out all that out.
Having to collect
What
so
works.
we can have it.
We'll have a few different ideas of, as dates are coming up, who's available and when, to ensure we would have a quorum.
Okay.
All right.
What day is it?
And again, just to be clear, you have to be present in person. There's no mechanism for virtual or proxy participation in a meeting.
Yep, okay, so, without any other questions on that, I think we know what we're doing for the next few weeks. We do have coming up at our December 8th meeting, which is the next Board of Education meeting, it is at 5 o'clock. That is because we're going to try this differently, we've had times where, and again, we're piling up meetings right before it, but by the time we got to the superintendent evaluation, which is one of the most critical parts of our board service, it's been very, very, very late at night, and we've all been trying to get out as quickly as possible, which isn't conducive. So we've talked about this before, we're gonna try doing this at 5 o'clock. We're gonna start with a closed session. My goal here is to wrap that up by 6. And then we would, even if we're done early, we would recess until 6, and we will start normal business at 6. So the
I mean,
meeting,
just a bit of clarity, you will actually start an open session and go directly to closed session.
correct, so I was gonna say, so what we will do is come in, it will be posted at 5 o'clock, we will come in, we'll do the very first procedural items, go straight into closed session, letting the public know that we won't have any substantive, we'll have public comment after the closed session. Is gonna be my proposal at executive, because that way I don't want people have to come in out early to make public comment. So we get the superintendent evaluation done and go into the normal meeting at basically public comment.
Not until after we say the Pledge of Allegiance, which will happen after we come back.
No, we will do it, we will
You'll
start with the
open with the
of
pledge, you'll
allegiance.
open the meeting,
We
and
will
then go into closed
we'll
session.
approve the agenda, and then we will go into closed session.
Okay, just for clarity, so I know, for our members that are winning Compass Awards next month, will we do Compass Awards before or after?
Nope, after
We do that
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
If it's like a
regular-
regular
That's fine,
meeting,
I
it's
just wanted
6.
to let them know for attendance purposes.
And that's why I wanted to get the clarity out is, and we will figure out making sure we're either done by 6, or we'll figure that out, we'll start regularly at 6.
You just mentioned we would pick up with public comment, we usually do those before public comment, so.
You are correct, I
Yeah.
apologize.
No, I just wanna make sure, 'cause we're gonna invite them to be here, I just wanna.
We would start regular recognition and then go into public comment.
Thank you.
So, and it would be pretty prompt at 6, cause we'll be ready to go, so.
My only comment here was that I thought we had talked as a board about 4:30 instead of 5, because we were worried that even with 5 o'clock, it would be rushed, cause in the past, the superintendent evaluations have been.
And I totally remember this
hour.
conversation.
Yeah.
I think me and Tammy both had 5 written down, but
I thought we landed on 5 after
Yeah,
that
me too.
conversation, but.
Did we? Okay,
I think-
that was the consensus.
I think we had that conversation
Okay,
and
Yeah,
but
I remember talking about it, but I swear we landed on 5.
Okay,
And
but I
and if
don't
it
know.
got goofy, you can always pause it, do the meeting, and go back.
and that's why I said it.
That's true.
I'm just saying, from a procedural standpoint, you can.
We talked about it earlier, having everything
Alright.
motion ready, so
Yeah.
we will have everything
Get
if
an
we
hour
had
out of the
to.
way, if we need more.
If we're gonna be a couple of minutes, we could make it work, if we're gonna be
Okay.
half an hour, whatever, we can adjust,
Mhm.
so. I will say, to make it efficient and to make sure we can get done in the hour, I will make sure, and Tammy will make sure that we get out an email to all board members to come prepared for that, especially for that section. You go in and fill it out yourself, it's not the final one, but if you just go through it, it will cut out a lot of the procedural questions that you guys may have. I try and talk to everyone about it so we know what we're doing ahead of time, so not what we're doing on paper, but what the procedure is ahead of time, so there'll be less time taken up with that, and we'll go straight into it as quickly as we can.
So we have homework.
There will be homework. This is one of the few times that there will actually be, and if you don't, if you unsure or don't have particular opinions, that's also okay. It will just help. We're gonna try and move it as quickly as we can, during that to make sure we're done. My goal is to be done early so we can have a little recess and get ready, so.
Do the newer board members have to take the MESB training that
Everyone is
the
required,
ones, okay, we took
Already
last
took
year.
it.
and I think everyone
Everybody
has.
has.
We had to.
Yeah,
okay.
everybody's taking it.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yep, so that is again, messaging on that, anything we can do to make sure that everyone's clear that we are gonna start at 5, and we will call to order and be in open session, go straight to closed session, regular business starting as normal at 6. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second, by Erica, alright, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay, meeting adjourned.